Hi guys, it's Dr. Pam and I'm here with this week's burning question. So this month we've sort of created a model regarding the top 2 factors that lead to the development of every disease. And we did that, and I did that, in order to show you where you can have the greatest impact to avert disaster, right? Because let's be real, the people that have come into me with their dogs or cats with disease states, are very blindsided by the disease. That's a consistent finding. I hear, what did I miss? What did I do wrong? And more importantly, what am I going to do now? And it just generates this sense of helplessness. Well, the whole purpose of this month is to empower you because you have an amazing amount of impact in your dog or cat's life and you don't even know it. So I'm teaching that, all right? And the thing is when it comes down to disease, to give you a great metaphor, it's like building a house. When you're building a house, if you don't have the raw materials, if you don't have enough wood, if you don't have enough nails, if you don't have the equipment, if you don't have the workers, if you don't have the raw materials to make this house from the ground up, and so it works all together, it's not going to function. Not at all, right? So raw materials are super important. What's another certainty that's in building a house? Well, besides the fact that they're never going to come in on time, and that is that you're going to generate waste. When you're building something, when you're creating something, there is going to be byproducts. There's going to be waste formation. And that stuff builds up and piles up in your yard. Have you noticed that? It piles up. And if it's not taken out, it can overtake your yard and it can impede and affect adversely the building of the house. And you're not able to build the house, right? It's not going to work if you can't get it all functioning as a unit, right? And so what has to happen for those 2 pieces to occur? You have to have great transportation to bring in the high quality raw materials to the site. And then take using transportation, move the waste products out of the site. And that keeps things flowing and moving in a very consistent manner. So you do build that awesome, vital structure that when everything gets turned on, it works together and it's a beautiful little unit. So compare that. If you're looking at the body, the high quality raw materials is basically nutrients, because one of the factors of developing disease is nutrient deficiency. So if you take in high quality nutrients, you're going to get a high quality function. Okay? So that's step 1. You must do that. Step 2 is you must be able to remove the waste that occurs in the system, because you know it's going to happen. It happens with every good system. It has to be efficiently and effectively removed to keep the cycle going. And that, my friends, is through circulation. And not just any old circulation, which all of it's important, but it's the microcirculation, the small circulation at the tissue level, at the neighborhood level, at the house level, that will actually transport the waste out. Otherwise, it gets in the way. So what does the waste represent in this great little metaphor / analogy? Well, the waste represents inflammation, because a buildup of waste and a buildup of things that are not working for the system, that the body is not able to efficiently move, creates inflammation. And guess what? You have complete control over those 2 items, and you can do that from the comfort of your home. 1, you feed a high quality whole food diet. That means using real foods. You can do a commercially prepared diet. You just use the ones that are real food diets. We've talked about them. Air dried, freeze dried, raw foods if it's appropriate, cooked diets, a variety of different things, dehydrated, and so on, okay? The second thing is you improve circulation. Well, how do you do that? Well, you can take them to me. You can bring them to me, or you can take them to your holistic vet, and we can do these modalities, which we do, and I recommend doing that. But you can also do this at home by using a pulse electromagnetic field therapy device, or a Hemp device. And that's what we've been talking about in the last couple weeks. And so I've been wrapping this up in my newsletter too, and talking on my email list. And this week we actually contrasted and compared the top 2 units that I feel are very, very good for our pets. Now, the big thing that you have to know, and you've heard me say it before, is Hemp units, they all use electromagnetic fields for their technology, but they don't use them all the same. So they're not all created equal. And some work better than others, and some don't work very well at all. And so you have to know how that works. And I didn't include that in the comparison on my email list because it's a very complex subject, and I've been thinking a lot about this. So to oversimplify it, to give you an example, you use the electromagnetic field to deliver the signal, the waveform. But how that waveform impacts the tissue level depends upon the physics of it. It depends upon the waveform, the frequency, and the pulse. Now, before you kind of go out, I'm not going to go any further into that. Let me give you an example that might make it a little bit more understandable. Back in the day, when the wheel was square and I was young, we had radios that had little dials. So you youngers don't know about that because it's been all digital since you've been alive. But we used to tune into the radio. We turn the dial and we tune into a station, and when you'd hit the right frequency, you'd have the effect of hearing a clear signal. And so how these signals are dialed in and what frequency you actually turn it to, what station you turn it to, matters. And it matters how well it's going to affect specific tissues. So the tissue effect occurs by the stations that are selected. Now that's, again, oversimplification. If you're physicists, just please be kind in your comments. Anyway, but understand that. That's why they're all different. And so I'll hear reports, I've heard a report of somebody who went to a show and took their dog and they got on this big mat and they had this Hemp treatment, and it really was what she called shocking to the dog. Well, that's not how it works. And if you don't want, really, this type of work, you don't have a lot of sensation. I have a device that I wave over the different devices that I use. So it just lets me know when you get that electromagnetic field, because it's an electromagnetic field. It is not meant to be heard. It exists. It's been proven in scientific studies to exist. We talked about that last week. So at any rate, this is why it's very important that, one, you do your research and you figure out which ones are the better ones. I've given you 2. And 2, if you really have somebody help you maneuver through it, because it can be highly complex. So take your time when you make this decision, because it can totally impact your dog's life, and and your cat too, and yourself for that matter. All these devices, they work well across the board. Okay, some are not necessarily labeled for use for humans or animals, but the technology is the same, okay? So anyway, I hope that helps kind of clear everything up. We're wrapping up this segment. Next month, we're going to be talking about aging in your pets. Take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.